What's going on, everyone? Lance Orc here. Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're going to be doing coverage on what to expect in Nomergon when the dungeon returns in Season 2 of the War Within Keystone. So essentially, this video is going over just all the little things you need to know on how to do this dungeon effectively as a Keystone. And the first thing I want to say before we even jump into anything, so I learned this very early on into the season 1 of Keystones. I don't know how it'll affect the first wing, but the second wing will be scaled up to level 80, meaning you will not be able to solo it for the entirety of Keystone Season 2. So, with that being said, if you want the mount from hard mode King Mechagon, I would suggest getting it before the next season starts. So, the dungeon starts off pretty straightforward. You have some trash, some bombs, all sorts of good stuff. But the first boss we're going to be covering is Tussle Tonks, which is the Platinum Pummeler and No Mercy for You. So, these bosses each have their own little gimmick they got going on. So, No Mercy for You has an ability called Vent Jets. Jesus Christ. I think I just had a stroke trying to read that. Which will basically cause it to shoot flames from around it, slowing its movement speed and basically doing pulse damage to all enemies around the boss. So, No Mercy for You, if you have the ranged, you want to have your ranged DPS prioritize No Mercy for You. It's the safe route to go where you won't have to worry about it pulsing damage. I will, of course, let these abilities be showcased. And then its killer ability it'll do is called Maximum Thrust, where it will charge in a random direction of an enemy. So it'll just pick a person and it's just going. It's just zooming off. If you get hit by this ability, you are probably dead. Just letting you know. Then we can talk about the Platinum Pummeler. It'll basically drop mines that'll blow up on impact. And it has a cute 99% damage reduction. As you saw, there is the thrust right there. It is very quick and very much out of nowhere. So with Whirling Edge, you just kind of want to get away from the boss. And then to remove the platinum plating, you want to kite the Platinum Pummeler onto one of these cracked pieces on the ground. As you can see, there's the vent flames right there. Not sure why that one's not hammering. And then there's some random saw blades you have to avoid. But as you see, there is a crack on the floor right here. You want to trigger that. And then, there you will see the hammer coming down and removing the stacks of the boss's damage reduction. Also, there are the mines as well. But yeah, when Vent Jets is going on, you just want to be away from No Mercy as a melee DPS, because that will do some tremendous damage. And after the third hammer, the Platinum Pummeler will take regular damage as normal. And then we're just going to showcase the Maximum Thrust one more time. Here it comes. Like I said, very quick, very important. You want to focus No Mercy for You first, because this guy is definitely the problem child. The Platinum Pummeler, if you have ranged DPS, is more or less free. And really is of no threat as long as you are avoiding the mines. Once that is complete, you will be sliding down a nice oily slide all the way down into the path to the next boss. But first, I want my loot. I'm a bit of a loot freak. Also, there are battle pets in here for anyone who's into that. And this dungeon does have a very annoying mechanic. And if you've done this dungeon, even on regular difficulty, you know what I'm talking about. So the waste processing unit, there's really nothing too overly special about it. Just gonna let it kind of wail on me so you can see what it does. Processed waste is a frontal cone. Once it begins channeling processed waste, just move out of it, and then mega drill, don't be in the circle. And then living waste is an ad that will just drop ooze puddles all over the place. There really ain't too much to say about this trash, just don't get caught in the bad, more or less. You get caught in the bad, you're going to get called out like you're bad. And I'm sorry, I've been wanting to do more Keystones this season, but it just seemed like there's a lot more toxic players in the community than normal. And it just kind of kills me on the inside. But let's talk Cujo. Nice Stephen King reference for you all. So for Cujo, there's really not much you need to know. Aside from the fact that he will leap towards random players and just do damage and heating up the junk cubes. You do not want to be in your junk cubes when he does explosive leap. So let's just pull the boss and we'll showcase what I mean. So, the big ability you want to worry about here is venting flames. If you do not hide from venting flames, you will die. So here comes venting flames. When venting flames goes out, see, even with no speed reduction, I made it behind the box just fine. And if you superheat the box too soon, it will explode during venting flames, as I will showcase right here. Now, I don't think he's going to do explosive leap. Oh, he is. So let's just showcase what happens. See how it's now superheated? This means I will have nowhere to hide during the next venting flames, which is happening right now. So watch, we're going to pretend, and boom, congratulations. You just wiped your entire group because you didn't do the explosive leap right. So take explosive leap away from the raid and away from the boxes. Otherwise, this boss will do you in nice and quick. As for Blazing Chomp, it's literally just something that hits the tank, and I'm quite sure it can be dispelled. But once that's done, you can get to the fun part of the dungeon. Ooh, operator mitts. What do those look like? Yeah, I'll look later. So, now that you're done with Cujo, you want to come up these steps, and you're going to be running on a treadmill. I would recommend someone very confident run on ahead, and you can turn the treadmill off. Also, you are dancing around these flamethrowers as well. If you know how to run on the edge, like the little gray parts, you can actually skip the treadmill section. But, you know, I'm not really in much of a hurry, so, you know, it is what it is. And then that last one will try to shoot you as you're running up. But the person who is confident in their mobility and ability to zigzag, you want to come up here, hit this red button, and that will turn off the flamethrowers. It is at this point you get to everyone's favorite part of this whole dungeon, the steam maze, after a little bit of trash. So the trash in this dungeon is really just very linear, and there's really nothing you can do about it, you know? You come over here and you got King Mechagon spewing about how he is the answer, he is the way. He is the sauce, dare I say. So the one thing I want to point out here is the defense spot. I believe, if I'm remembering right, we're just going to showcase real quick. Because that first pack was literally nothing. It was just a bunch of, random trash. But if I'm remembering right, one of these defense spots does like a shield. The Mach 2 does, of course, do a AoE. I might be remembering it wrong. I don't know. The Blastatron X80 is kind of like a mini boss, so to say, with high explosive rockets. During my time in BFA, I don't quite remember this guy doing anything too crazy. Sonic Pulse, you just want to make sure you don't face set at your group, so that way you don't kill everyone and don't stand in the rockets. Capacitor Discharge is just a bunch of AoE damage. Not really much to be done. I know there's a lot going on here, but you know, like I said, Sonic Pulse, just don't be in front of. So we'll go ahead and just move on. So, let's talk Steam. These Detectobots are immune to damage, and this is what happens if you get caught. This is how you know whether or not your key is going to win or lose. You could do everything perfect up to this point, and then because of the Detectobot, you will literally have your key fail. So once you get up here, like I said, this is the fun part. Because of all the Detectobots running around, you will find your opening, and essentially you don't want to second guess yourself. So right here, I'm going to run right for the middle, and even standing in the ring, I am not getting caught. But if I step out of the steam even for a second, I will be. So we're going to book it. If you're going to commit to the run, commit to the run. If you're going to charge in, charge in. Do not second guess yourself. And then once you get here, you are free of the steam maze. Like I said, that part will literally be what makes or breaks your key. Because all it takes is a healer or a DPS not being able to get through, and then you're literally waiting 20 minutes for them to navigate that maze. Part of me feels like they actually nerfed it, but I am not entirely sure. And then you'll have some trash. And then we have the head mechanist Sparkflux. So I just want to go over his garden gadgets real quick. He has hidden flame cannons, self-trimming hedges, and inconspicuous plant. Well, himself, he will do a discombobulator. Essentially, I'll just showcase them as they happen. The self-trimming hedge is going to just be a little gear blade right there. And there's the inconspicuous plant. You just want to keep those under control, or they'll do a lot of damage. And then the middle will be what does the hidden flame cannon. From there, you just rotate clockwise or counterclockwise and just avoid the attack. And that big swirl right there was the discombobulator. And at this point, it's just basically rinse and repeat. Though you've already seen all of his mechanics. So, you know, at this point, we just kill the boss. And then you're moving on to King Mechagon. Also, if you can avoid a lot of the mechanics, you will go ahead and make my daisy. So, you are now in the final stretch of the Nomergon Keystone Dungeon, and you have these spider tanks. They will do the high explosive rocket launch and the sonic pulse, just like the little mini boss before the Sparkflux boss. And then you have to kill both of them, I'm quite sure, because that's the only way you will get the plane to spawn. And then from here, you will be taken up to the road before King Mechagon. Now this trash can get pretty nasty too. Let's clear the air. This trash can get pretty nasty. So you have the Tinkerer and you have the Defender. So essentially, when you pull the trash, you want to focus, I believe it's the Tinkerer first. No, it's the Defender, because they'll drop the shield generators, and while the shield generators are up, they are taking 75% reduced damage. So you need to kill those shield generators, and you want to focus the Defender, because you focus the Defender, and that's going to ensure that more of these shields don't spawn, all while avoiding that squirrel bomb as well. Also, if you have any way to move the Tinkerer, it will avoid that Machbot 3 getting pulled. They will be doing the AoE jump like the Mach 2 did. But for the most part, it's really just a bunch of AoE damage. Also, they obviously do get a shield at one point, and then you're moving on. Now this is the roughest pull of the whole dungeon, because in this pull you have a Defender, 2 Mechanics, a Tinkerer, and 2 defense bots. So the Mechanics are what we're going to be seeing what they do. So this is basically everything you have to deal with at once. I would recommend basically CCing the Mechanic, because they do tune-up, which is, as you can see, a heal. I would CC 1 or 2 of the Mechanics if possible, and then kill the Defender, and then just slowly work your way down, because the tune-up is basically healing the ads every 2 seconds. Once you have the Defender and the Tinkerer, or the Mechanic and the Defenders taken care of, everything else is more or less meh. And then you have made it. You have gotten to King Mechagon himself. So, just briefly showcase a lot of his abilities. So stage 1 starts with him in the aerial unit, which he has a pulse blast, which is basically going to be on the tank, plasma orbs, which you don't want to touch, but he will be moving the plasma orbs as the fight goes on. So very wise to be aware of that. And then Giga Zap is basically going to shoot a electric beam towards a player and zap anyone in their path. In addition, the target takes 100% increased damage from Giga Zap for 12 seconds. So basically, if you're going to get hit by it, make sure you don't get hit by it again. Otherwise, you will be dead. And then takeoff is just him lifting into the air and doing a cutting beam, which is going to be just a pulsing beam that is going to just follow players around. But let's just showcase everything real quick. There, right there, you will see the plasma orbs, which are these things right here. The recalibrate, cause them all to jump towards me. Here's Giga Zap. It's just a straight cutter beam. And then Pulse Blast is the orbs. Recalibrate, the orbs are coming to me. The recalibrated orbs will exist for the entire fight. Once he does the cutting beam is when we'll just showcase the next phase. And there you see the cutting beam. It's just going to move towards a random player. If you're caught in the path, you are probably dead. But after seeing these abilities, you will progress into phase 2, where you will be stunned, and the boss will kind of RP for a little bit. Like I said, the plasma orbs, the Giga Zap, they all do the same thing, except Giga Zap now shoots 3 bolts towards random players. And it still does the 100% increased damage. Magneto Arm is basically a draw-in that will attempt to pull you towards the boss and toss you off the ledge. Here is Giga Zap right now. 1, 2, 3. And then Protocol 99 is only used whenever the boss is not having anyone in melee range, which basically means you're dead at that point. But that is the Magneto Arm right there. And then that's basically all his abilities he has going on for this phase. So once you get past that, you will see the robot has fallen to its imminent demise, and then the boss at this point is not doing really anything. So you just kind of whack him in the face, and then you've won. If this video has helped you, I really hope that you guys consider subscribing, as I do World of Warcraft content all the time. With that being said, I will see you guys for the next video.